Supermarket sushi, really?
No. Wait, Troy, you work here?
I'm never not working. Like Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology, up to 100% dandruff protection, even between washes.
Never not working, huh?
Oh, Troy, you're such a good teacher.
Yeah, I know. Never not working. Never not working. Never ever not working.
Are you serious?
Never not working. Dandruff protection that's never not working. Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
This is Brian Fulford. A.D. Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Wrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Wrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
You're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics. There's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
Pleasant good morning to everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Carlos Brown Show. Watched and heard exclusively right here on the Black College Sports Network. Yours truly, Carlos Brown. June the 3rd, here is today's guest menu. Of course, Charles Edmond will join us here on the show. Following Charles Edmond will be Khristain Zachery. He's a young student athlete who has transferred in to Southern University's football program from Liberty University. So we're scheduled to talk with him at about 11:35 Central Standard Time. Then, hour number 2, Coach Vann Pettaway joins us as we talk some NBA Finals. We'll definitely get that in. And then last but not least, not our last guest, Coach John Fisher. He's athletic coordinator and head football coach at Woodrow Wilson High School. He will be talking about another Southern University football commit, Bryson Baggett. So he'll join us. And then we'll get an update from the Gainesville Regional from A.D. Drew. FAMU will be taking on, I believe, UConn in an elimination game. So that's the guest menu for you on today's show. And here's simply what's trending. FAMU, since the last time we talked, FAMU, the 2023 SWAC tournament baseball champions. Congratulations. They defeated BCU. And then last week, I predicted, and others on the panel, of an all-Florida Classic in the tournament finals, and that's exactly what happened. Of course, FAMU over BCU 9-6. Also, we're going to take a look at what's trending, the SWAC Commissioner's Cup, and that is always interesting. The best overall athletic program in the Southwestern Athletic Conference. And, of course, it's a name, an institution that has had much success the last few Commissioner Cups. And then the NBA Finals has started. Of course, you know who my team is, the Miami Heat, since 2006. They're down 1-0. Let's see if they can respond. But we'll talk more in depth about that and get the perspective from Coach Vann Pettaway. That's what's trending here on the Carlos Brown Show. Good morning and afternoon to everybody who's watching. Now we have Charles Edmond. Charles, good morning to you.
Good morning, Carlos.
Doing okay?
Doing fine. It's been a grind the last few weeks, softball, baseball, and it's just been a whirlwind. But hey, I enjoyed it. Blessed to be able to do it, and just looking forward to seeing what happens next.
Well, it'll be a little bit of rest, I guess, for you. Now we're in the dog days of summer. Hot, humid. Boy, this weekend, we'll give you a weather report. 93 and 95 here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. But the thing that separates it, it's hot. I know it's hot in most places, but the humidity, that has been creeping up. So I'm going to be in the man cave, hopefully, for a little while and enjoy some regional baseball. Speaking of baseball, of course, what's trending segment, FAMU defeats Bethune-Cookman 9-6. And, I didn't say it, but FAMU was a team that I thought had a great chance of being the tournament champions. And, hey, they took down the number 1 seed, Alabama State. And then they take on their rival, and they defeat them 9-6. So congratulations to coach them and FAMU. They did a great job. And then we're going to talk a little bit about in the Gainesville Regional. They had their first game against the University of Florida. But your thoughts on the 2023 SWAC baseball tournament?
Well, first of all, it's good to see the tournament in Atlanta. First of all, that got a lot of talk on social media. The future of it. Roger Cador talked about it. It's a 3-year deal in Atlanta. So we got 2 more years of having the SWAC baseball tournament in Atlanta. Hopefully more attendance, hopefully a lot more support. It's been talked about. So that's first and foremost. I thought it was a great atmosphere overall, a lot of support from fans from all the schools. But if you had told me 2 weeks ago, Carlos, that it would be Florida A&M and Bethune-Cookman playing for the championship, I would not have believed that, just based on how good Alabama State has been. And I would say even Grambling, the way they were swinging the bats. But at the end of the day, you got to have some pitching. You got to make some plays defensively, and you can't leave runners stranded. And Grambling obviously didn't have enough pitching. They got eliminated, obviously. Bama State, I think they ran out of arms a little bit. That hurt. But you got to give Bethune-Cookman and Florida A&M a lot of credit. First of all, Bethune-Cookman, number 1. And let's go back. Both of those teams, Bethune and FAMU, if you go back to last year's tournament, made it to the bracket finals, first year in the conference. So they were knocking on the door anyway, but they were able to break through this year. You look at Bethune-Cookman, 2 years, didn't even play baseball due to COVID and an opt-out. And so for them to be able to get back as quickly as they have. I think you have to give them a lot of credit. They did a lot of things right. I just think at the end of the day, they just didn't make enough plays. And, coming from the losers bracket, knocking off, top team there to get there. And then Florida A&M. I mean, they were 3 outs away from being undefeated and making it to the championship game without even, having Saturday. But that didn't happen. I think they just got hot when their backs were against the wall. Their bats and backs were against the wall. They made all the right plays. They made all the right moves. And I just thought they were just a really solid team. And so you have to congratulate Coach Shoup. Jamie Shoup is he's a cool coach. He's a real cool dude. When you talk to him, and I've talked to him the last couple of years, he always quotes Charlie Ward, and he says, you execute, you play hard, and you live with the results. And they played their best baseball all year long when their back was against the wall in the tournament. They played Alabama State in the final regular season series. I think that helped them. So they had a lot of intel, on them anyway. They played them 9 times during the season. So there was no secrets. But Florida A&M was hot. Their backs were against the wall coming from the losers bracket, and they made a way. And so congratulations to them. I am going to say this as a supporter of the SWAC. I think Bethune-Cookman and Florida A&M are here to stay in terms of SWAC baseball. I think we also learned about another rivalry. We know the rivals in this league, but you can add another rivalry in baseball. It's Alabama State and Florida A&M. That's you can add that rivalry to the list of rivalries in the league. I didn't think that rivalry would blossom like it has, but man, I've learned that that's big time. So
well, and Charles, I'm glad and I'm not, because before FAMU and Bethune-Cookman came into the conference, you can not really debate about Alabama State's success in the conference. So you got Alabama State, pretty good baseball program, FAMU, Bethune-Cookman, good baseball program. So you're coming into a new conference and you're going to clash immediately. And I think that's great for SWAC baseball. And they have made the conference better in terms of baseball and other sports, and just being in the conference. So, hey, competition is always a great thing, and you've got to continually get better. Now, I often talk about adversity or overcoming adversity throughout a season, throughout a game. Alabama, FAMU comes from the losers bracket, and I heard Coach Cato talking about it's tough to do, but it can be done. And they were able to come in, and their goal, of course, was to win it like everyone else in the tournament. So congratulations to FAMU. Then they went on to the discussion was, where would they go? I was talking to some of my colleagues. They all thought it was going to be Gainesville. That's where FAMU went to play a short trip to play the University of Florida. But to wrap up FAMU and Bethune-Cookman, FAMU, of course, wins 9-6, 13 hits, Charles. Bethune-Cookman, 14 hits. Both teams, 1 error. And of course, you can see the final score, 9-6, Bethune-Cookman. Then they go to Gainesville. And then last night, I was talking to today's producer, Brian Fulford, of the OG Strike Zone. And I'll tell you what, FAMU made some mistakes, but the effort was outstanding. And giving up, 2 runs early on, and then only giving up 1 after, later on, great effort by FAMU. And Brian was telling me before the show that FAMU didn't throw their number 1 pitcher. And that's always a discussion, even here locally in Baton Rouge. Most teams throw their number 1 starter, particularly schools like, FAMU, Southern, Grambling, Bethune-Cookman. But that's interesting. They didn't throw their number 1 pitcher, but boy, they got a great effort from him. But they fall short 3-0. But hey, great effort by FAMU in the Gainesville Regional.
Yeah, they got good pitching, number 1. I think that if you go back and look at it, I thought just watching FAMU last week,
Base running.
And base running, especially in the ninth inning, they lost 2 runners at home plate. 7 strikeouts, 7 runners left on base. So the opportunities were sprinkled throughout the game. And I will attribute some of that, the left on base and the strikeouts to nerves first game. And look, it's tough. I mean, typically in the first game, and I've been to a bunch of regionals, I've seen, our team, Southern and Mississippi State, the game gets away from you. But I think if you're Florida A&M, you feel really good about the 3-0 score, even though you didn't win it. My guess is that they're going to throw their number one today. And look, they got a pitcher at Florida A&M. They call him Everyday Moray. Zach Moray has pitched every game in the postseason. He pitched every game. He pitched in every game in the SWAC tournament.
He's an Iron Man.
Yeah, they call his name is Zach Moray, but Coach Shoup calls him Everyday Moray because he's pitched every day. He's pitched every day in the postseason, including yesterday. I think he went an inning and a third. I'm sure he'll pitch today if the game is close. But I think if you're Florida A&M, you got to throw everything at it to stay alive. Their backs were against the wall a week and a half ago, and you saw what happened. We'll see if they stay alive today against UConn.
Yeah, hey, you win or you go home. Mistakes, base running, stranded men on base, timely hitting. But overall, they were in a position. They put themselves in a position to be able to win the baseball game. So, hey, we're pulling for FAMU today. Let's see. Go in the chat room. AD, who's going to give us a report live. FAMU cuts a runner down at the plate to end the top of the first inning. And, he's watching the show. Thanks, AD, live from the press box in Gainesville, Florida. SWAC Commissioner's Cup as we move on. And before we get to our first guest of today's show, the 2022-2023 SWAC Commissioner's Cup. Where, if you're watching and you're a Prairie View alum, an Alcorn State, a FAMU, Bethune-Cookman, et cetera, where do you think? Put it in the chat box. Where do you think your institution, what place did they finish? And if you already know that, are you happy, disappointed, or satisfied at where your institution, where they're at in the SWAC Commissioner's Cup? Because it's not only just football, basketball, and baseball, it's overall athletic program. And that honor goes to Alabama State. Not surprised. 163 points. Let me just go through them quickly. Jackson State, number 2, 157.5 points. Prairie View A&M, number 3, 132 points. Southern University, number 4. I'm kind of disappointed and surprised because I'll give my commentary about that later or in a few minutes. Texas Southern 5th, 119 points. Grambling State 6th. 7th is FAMU. 8 is Bethune-Cookman. 9 is Alcorn State. 10 is Alabama A&M. And 11, Arkansas Pine Bluff, and Mississippi Valley State finished 12th. Now, Texas Southern 119 points. Grambling State 112. FAMU 104.5. Bethune-Cookman 101.5. Alcorn State 94 points. Alabama A&M 91.5. Arkansas Pine Bluff 81 points. And Mississippi Valley State 35.0. That's the overall SWAC Commissioner's Cup. Now, the C.D. Henry Award, and that's on the men's side. Jackson State 1, Alabama State 2, Texas Southern 3, Southern 4, Bethune-Cookman 5, Prairie View 6, FAMU 7, tied with Grambling State, 9th Arkansas Pine Bluff, 10 Alcorn, 11 Alabama A&M, and 12 Valley. Last numbers. The McGee Jacket Award, Alabama State on the women's side, 1st, Jackson State 2, Prairie View 3, Grambling State 4, Southern 5, 6 Texas Southern, 7 FAMU, 8 Alabama A&M, 9 Alcorn State, and 10 Bethune-Cookman. Charles, surprised? How you feeling?
Well, first of all, congratulations to Alabama State. I mean, I know the AD, Dr. Jason Cable. And look, I mean, I'll say this as far as how people feel about the Commissioner's Cup. That's a big deal if you talk to ADs in this conference. They don't talk about it a lot publicly, but behind the scenes, they want to win that. They want to win that Commissioner's Cup. I think it's a source of pride and joy because it shows you, the commitment you put into your athletic programs, and it shows up in terms of how you finish in the standings. So I'm not surprised. When you think of the Commissioner's Cup, initially you think about, well, what do you do in the major sports, football, basketball, baseball, softball. But it's like you said, it's a culmination of all the sports.
All of
them.
So
you just can't look at the big three. It's how you do in tennis, how you do in track and field, how you do in the other sports that helps elevate you as well. So I think it does show the commitment for your overall athletic program. So congratulations to Alabama State. That their facilities are terrific. They have a basketball arena that's outstanding. Their track and field facilities are outstanding. Baseball. And so when you have that, you get good athletes that can compete, and you're able to do that. So congratulations to Alabama State. Clearly, the best overall when you look at that particular award.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I'm kind of surprised at Southern, believe it or not, because they're fourth. I want to say last year they were maybe a little bit lower. If you talk to some Southernites, well, they feel that this Commissioner Cup, Southern is just the middle of the pack. And that's kind of where you look at it. Overall, Southern is fourth. You would like for them to do better. I understand it's tough as far as director of athletics. They got a lot of hats that they have to wear. You have to have fan support, investments, resources, all of that, compliance. So it is a tough job. But Southern moved up just a little bit, and hopefully they'll continue to ascend higher. Let's see. James Verrett in the chat about Bama State low turnover in Olympic sport head coaches helped them a lot. Thank you for that comment, James. Yeah, low turnover. And they put a lot of emphasis on those Olympic sports, spring sports. And to your point, I've come across some fans, and they're entitled to it. They're thinking about the football, basketball, and baseball. So with that being said, I remember a time where Southern, under the late great Floyd Kerr, they won, Commissioner Cups in a row, a lot of them. But that was then. This is now. Congratulations once again to Alabama State, the overall SWAC Commissioners Cup winner. Also trending, G Boom says, good morning. Carlos and Charles, good morning. The NBA playoffs, just a little bit on that. 104-93, Denver defeats the Miami Heat. But we talked last week, which was last Saturday, and there was going to be a big Game 7 between Miami and Boston. Miami went up 3-0. Boston, being the competitors that they are, they bounced back to tie the series. And then Miami did to Boston what Boston did to Miami the previous year. Went into the Boston Garden. Boston went into Miami and won a 7th game. But this time it wasn't even close. A blowout, 103-84 by the Miami Heat. Hey, played Monday. No excuse. Altitude has to go to Denver. Just my quick take on the 104-93 loss by Miami. 1, the series is, of course, not over. 2, let's see Miami if they can bounce back. This is the first series, Charles, that they didn't win the opening game on the road. Also, I thought Miami settled for too many three-point shots. And boy, don't talk about the Celtics. They live by the 3 and they die by the 3. And Jimmy Butler has challenged his teammates and himself to get to the foul line, play inside out. And you look at it, Jimmy Butler, 13 points. I think he had kind of a subpar game. Bam Adebayo, 26 points and 13. But I'll close with this. Denver, the Joker, is who we thought he was. you are not going to stop him. But my concern is the others. That's who you have to stop. And the Miami Heat others have to play much better. But 104-93, Denver up 1-0. First one to 4, of course, wins it, Charles.
Yeah, it's still a long road. I personally think the series starts tomorrow night. But I'm gonna go back to the Boston-Miami series. I thought the Heat won the series, losing Game 6, and I thought the Celtics lost the series, winning Game 6.
Should have won Miami.
What I'm saying is that after that, the Heat should have wrapped it up clearly. I mean, we all know that. But I think coming off that emotional win by Boston, they didn't have it for Game 7, and I think the Miami Heat were determined in Game 7. They were angry, obviously, and they just took it to Boston. So, I thought Game 6 flipped it in kind of a reverse fashion to me, and Miami, got it done in Game 7. I had no inclination that the Heat, after winning Game 7, were going to go to Denver after that grind of a series, playing in the altitude. And I know people might use that as an excuse, but it can't be an excuse. I get it, but I think the emotional aspect of that previous series took a toll in Game 1. Now, like I said, the series starts tomorrow night. I think that's where the Heat have been in Denver a little bit. Both teams kind of feel each other out. And yes, the NBA is a three-point shooting league. I mean, taking it to the post, taking it to the rack, you don't see a whole bunch of that nowadays. I mean, you talked about Boston and all the threes that they took. The Heat took a bunch of threes. That's just kind of what the NBA is. The Joker's the real deal. To me, and I have Denver winning the series. I just think Denver has more weapons. I love Jimmy Butler. I love the dog in him, but I don't. And even with Jimmy and Bam, others have to step up. I don't know if Miami has enough, in my opinion. Now, I might be wrong. If the Heat take the game tomorrow, they go to Miami, then the series switches. But, I think the Heat are really, really good, but I think Denver is just a little bit better, in my opinion. Still early, though. I mean, it's just my prediction. But I think tomorrow night is where the series starts, to me.
And that, of course, tomorrow, 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central. Miami Heat at Denver. Game 2. We're going to take a timeout. When we come back in a few minutes. We're scheduled to talk with Khristain Zachery. I was to say his last name first and first name last. Khristain Zachery. He transferred into Southern University's football program. About 6'3" now. When I talked to him earlier, he's up to 300 pounds. He's going to move inside and play defensive tackle. He has an interesting conversation to talk to us about. He has a nickname. I guess I say nickname, but we'll see what he has to say about it. Rev, a very spiritual guy, but we'll talk to him about coming to Southern University and different other things in the conversation. So we'll take a timeout. You're watching the Carlos Brown Show right here on the Black College Sports Network. We shall return.
The Cuvée Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cuvée.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app. as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge, featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. That's www.slowburnwaco.com.
Welcome back to this week's edition of the Carlos Brown Show right here on the Black College Sports Network. We're waiting on our first guest, Khristain Zachery, scheduled to join us. I'm sure we'll give him a few minutes to log in. But he's coming to Southern University football program from the transfer portal, Liberty University. And I got a chance to look at some of his highlights. When Liberty played at Arkansas, they defeated Arkansas. Then also, I think I saw Liberty when they played Wake Forest. They lost a close one. So he comes from a great program. And looking at his bio, he had quite a few offers coming out of the state of Georgia, Alabama, Oklahoma. And so I think this is one of the positions that the football staff particularly wanted to add some depth. And they also have added a couple more players that we're going to talk about on Southern University's football program and defensive line. And so with that being said, defensive line, offensive line, and I think Southern is still trying to add some pieces offensively, offensive line specifically. So Charles, we'll see, because it's football season is fast approaching. A lot of the players have reported to summer conditioning. Then you'll have fall camp coming very shortly. Then you have SWAC football media day, and right after that, basically you're looking within a week's period or 2 weeks time. Then fall camp starts for all of the institutions in the Southwestern Athletic Conference. So with that being said, I just believe, once again, this year is going to be a lot of pressure to win and be successful.
Yes, sir. It definitely will be. And I'm learning this, Carlos, about college football. I see the videos of a lot of these football players, checking into the dorms in June. To me, it seems like this is the most important time for college football. You hear coaches talk about the spring sets the foundation. I agree with that. But I also think now's the time that you also add to your foundation, because right now you got summer school and you got conditioning, and I don't know what the time that you put into it. I mean, you always got to hit the weight room. You always got to stay sharp physically in football. So I would say this, as far as college football is concerned, I'm learning and I'm evolving in terms of my attitude towards college football. We always talk about what happens in August, but the foundation as far as the physicality of the game, which is the most important thing, starts now. And so as teams report right now, I think it's critically important, to have yourself in condition physically. We haven't seen the heat yet. It's starting right now. Summer is cranking up pretty quickly. And so you're going to see these coaches really get after the strength and conditioning coaches. Right now, Carlos, this is where they earn their money. Strength and conditioning coaches in most programs are well paid for a reason. And so this is the time in which they're going to earn their money, because you got classes, you got conditioning, maybe a little bit X's and O's, more class work, but more so in the weight room, pumping the iron. So I think this is a critical time for all college football programs. And as you said, it's an important year for a lot of coaches in this league, starting right here at Alcorn with, Fred McNair in the last couple of years have been a big disappointment. You got Tyler Macon coming in. He'll be our quarterback, most likely to start the season. It'll be interesting to see. You got Jarvion Howard in the backfield, Agent Zero. You got Tyler Macon, so you've got offensively the foundation. But I think it's going to be a real intriguing year with TC Taylor at Jackson State. Will Prairie View get off the mat? Will Southern continue to build? You hear a lot about, Hugh Jackson and what's going on over there at Grambling, Bruce Eugene's comments. It's a lot to digest, but I think it adds to just the storylines that we're seeing in the Southwestern Athletic Conference. Play has improved. Coach Sanders is no longer at Jackson State. We'll see. They've lost a lot of players via the transfer portal, some to Colorado and other places. We'll see if TC Taylor can keep the continuity going. We'll see if Coach Dooley can keep the continuity going. But there are other teams that are kind of chomping at the bit. So we'll see. But I'm anxious to see how this year is going to go. Like I told the commissioner a couple of times over the last few weeks, no shortage of storylines. I think he likes it that way. We like it that way. And the fans like it that way. And in 7 weeks, we're going to be in Birmingham, trying to put it all together.
Well, I know one thing, and I've had some animated discussions about, the culture now. It's basically now you have to win now. You may have like remember you used to have 5 years and technically that's the best way to put it. But now, and I'll just say this, the culture now, you got to win quickly. And I'm just, again, I've had some animated conversations with just Southernites, other SWAC fans and alums, and that seems to be the culture now. Win now quickly. So with that being said, Brian Fulford has, I think he told me our guest was in. So what are you looking for? Oh, there we go.
How you doing?
Good morning.
How you doing?
Put the TV down. Let me turn this off.
There you go. I'll make sure all of my volumes is down. We're about to visit with Khristain Zachery.
Can you hear that?
Yeah, it's just a little bit. If you can turn it down a little more, I'll appreciate it.
Yeah, let me get that.
Because I want everyone to have your full attention to be able to hear Khristain on our interview. Thanks. I guess good afternoon for you. You're in Eastern Standard Time, correct?
Yes, sir.
Well, a pleasure to have you on the show. Khristain Zachery, coming to Southern University from Liberty University. And first and foremost, Khristain, your decision to choose Southern University football, what all went in that decision?
Well, at the time, I was already committed to Western Kentucky, but I had this message request in my Twitter. And I looked at the request, and it was like baptizing quarterbacks and stuff. And I was like, oh, he's kind of speaking my language, man. So I clicked on the link, and I clicked, I accepted his request. And I was like, give me a call, because I really was feeling a good feeling about it. And we talked, man, and we just talked some good ball, man. Scheme that kind of fits my game a little bit better. And I was like, man, this seems legit. So I was like, let's go. Let's do it.
So with that being said, you take a scheduled visit to Southern University. What was your first impression of the campus? Then we'll talk about the coaching staff and just your overall visit.
Well, we start off, we drove in, or we flew into New Orleans. So that was an experience in itself, man. It was beautiful, man. I tried some beignets, you know what I'm saying? I was watching like Princess and the Frog since I was a kid, so I had to try some beignets. But it was awesome. New Orleans was great. And then, we stopped by the campus, and man, it was amazing, man. That stadium is beautiful. I mean, like really, it's a beautiful stadium. I was getting hype, man, because we took some pictures in the middle of the field. I was like, bro, this is nice. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I saw those pictures on social media.
Yeah, it was lit, man. But the campus was great. I love the family. Like the family, it's very family orientated, and I just really like that. It's a breath of fresh air. It really felt like home. So it was amazing. Yeah.
How about the coaches and talking with them, how your style of play, or how did you believe you would fit and help the program, and then the school helps you? But how do you talk to the coaches? How do you feel that you will fit in and help the program?
Well, they want me at 3 Tech, and that's what I've been wanting to play since I was a freshman. Originally in Liberty, that's kind of what they had planned for me, but because of different things, they wanted me at end at the, last year. But it's amazing that, I'm playing 3 Tech, and he allows his 3 Techs to go in, man. And that's the type of D tackle I am. That's the type of player I am. I like making plays in the backfield. I like using my hands. I like, doing those type of things to be an explosive player. And with the defense he was talking and the film we're watching, I really believe that. It wasn't just smoke and mirrors, because once I watched that film, it connected to exactly what he said. So, it was great.
Now, your position coach is Coach DeMarcus Miller, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, well, he's famous in itself.
I know. I know.
My favorite defensive tackle, or one of my favorite my favorite defensive tackle in modern Southern University football history. We're visiting with Khristain Zachery, defensive tackle. I'm kind of used to saying DN at first, but now I'm trying to get to defensive tackle, because when we were communicating, the release had you at 6'3", 270, I believe. But when we text, you're now
290. I'm 290 now.
Okay.
Yeah.
6'3", 290. So you've added 20 pounds
Yeah.
with the moving inside, correct?
Yes, sir. Quicker too. So keeping that quickest for sure.
Well, next you and I made my notes here as far as a human interest part, but you're called Rev, or is that a nickname, or is that a social media name? But
it's a nickname, a social media name, is all of the above, man. That's a name I got in middle school. I was preaching at the lunch table. I always preach, man. Any opportunity I had to, glorify God's name, I did it. And people were just like, man, you the Rev, man. And, I was knocking them quarterbacks out. So, I was baptizing them. So they had to call me Rev. You know what I'm saying? So it just came along,
That's interesting, because I've seen some other interviews on social media, and in my notes I said I got to make sure he explains that, and that's outstanding, because I also have a human interest story I always throw in, a question. But how important is the way I put it, faith in your life?
Man, it's so important, man. And I'm not perfect, but I know when I'm with God, man, my spirit, I'm at peace, man. And when I'm at peace, that's what you want in life, is to be at peace. And with God, man, when I pray, when I get into my word, when I glorify his name, I have peace and I have purpose and I have direction. So that's very important in my life. I always want to be on a direction. I always want to be on a path, and I always want to walk in peace. Shout out to I forget his name. But I walk in peace, man. And I believe that everyone should, everyone should walk in peace. Everyone should have Christ, because with Christ, there's purpose and direction. And without him, man, you can get lost in the sauce. You can get, You know, you might be over here, over there. You might go that way, but you know, I'm placed on solid ground, so I'm ready to go. So,
Christian, that's interesting because I think some would say, how can you have the faith and the spirituality? How does that help you playing a collision sport?
well, see, I think people have a lot of misconceptions about different things in the Bible. David was a killer, man. You know what I'm saying?
He was a
David
warrior.
killed like hundreds of Philistines, you know, all of them. He killed Goliath. He was a dog, man. And Christ was with them. God was with him the whole time. He used the power of God to defeat his enemies, same as Gideon. There's many times in the Bible where there are some dogs in there, you know what I'm saying, that had to get a job done. It was a little bit dirty, but they did it anyway. Because, you know, in life, unfortunately, we live in a sinful world. And, you know, listen, if me knocking a quarterback out gives glory to Christ, man, I'm going to knock you out. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to baptize you. Because, listen, when I baptize you, people are going to be like, hey, Christian, how you doing? I'm going to say, Jesus Christ. So it's all pointing back to Christ. And I believe a lot of Christians should take that mentality more often than being, I got to be passive. Come on, man. Yeah. God made you a warrior. God calls you a warrior. He said you got the breastplate of right. Well, don't quote me on this, but breastplate of righteousness, the sword of truth. You know what I'm saying? You got to go it's a war, man. It's a war. So you got to go in there, fight it, man. So yeah.
Yeah, you know what? I understand, and the way you explained it, hey, I agree with you on that. Charles, you have a question or two for Mr. Zachery?
Yeah, I do. And first of all, I always follow players who transfer and who make that choice to move on. To talk about your experience at Liberty, Hugh Freeze was your coach, correct?
Yes, sir. Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that experience there, and then I'm always interested. And of course, I do games for Alcorn, and we have players transfer in and out. I'm always interested in the transfer perspective from the athlete's perspective. So just talk about that decision to transfer and what goes all into it. And as far as do players have their minds made up? Is it something that you talk about and decide at the end of the year, and you just kind of reassess? How does all that work in your mind? And based on players that the process of transferring, because you read names in the transfer portal and you're just shocked that they would leave particular programs, but I know it's a lot more to it than that.
Yeah. So Coach Freeze was amazing, by the way, and Coach Chadwell was amazing too. But my first year, I got injured. I was injured, you know what I'm saying? But, being a freshman, I wanted to play still. I still wanted to get on the field. Probably wasn't the smartest decision. Probably I just should have sat out. But I ended up playing my 5 games, and I lost my red shirt. I barely played in those games, too, so it is what it is. My second year, I played at end. And, again, no excuses. I should have had a better year. I should have played better. I should have prepared better. But I did not have the year I wanted. You know what I'm saying? I didn't get the pressure I wanted. I didn't use the moves I wanted to use. I just did not get the job done. But, if I didn't go to Liberty, because, I know that I'd offer some Bama, Georgia, things like that. But I feel like if I didn't go to Liberty, I wouldn't be able to go to Southern. You know what I'm saying? I don't think I would even be thinking about Southern if I didn't go to Liberty. And I believe my steps are ordered. So I believe God had me to go to Liberty for a reason, a spot in my life. I believed I was placed there for a reason. But now God's moved me to Southern, and it's time to go. It's time to get lit. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
What do you know about the South, the SWAC? You talked about being on Southern's campus and all of that. I'm sure you've heard about the tradition, the band, and the tailgating and homecoming and just all that. How familiar are you with the Southwestern Athletic Conference and the big rivalry games you're going to be playing in?
Oh, I know about it, Gremlin. For sure. It's about to go down.
I thought you look, Christian, and Charles, just from hearing him speak earlier on the the spirituality in his life. I knew he had done his research about the Southwestern Athletic Conference. You mentioned Graham. Continue on.
Well, I know
Mr. Zachery.
that it brings 250,000 visitors in Baton Rouge, and that's just amazing. So I'm gonna put on the show, man. We're gonna see a lot of baptism that day. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna see. You know what I'm saying? But
classic.
nah, it's amazing though. It's a great opportunity. I just love the SWAC culture. It's really it's really amazing. So I'm excited for that. I know there's a lot of history that goes down with it. There's a lot of black rights and civil rights that we've gone through, and I kind of saw that at Southern University. I forget the names, but there's 2 men that were shot in a police protest.
Smith Brown.
Yeah, so it was really interesting to see that. You know what I'm saying? That really hits home for me because in my home, we talk about black rights, civil rights, black history all the time. You know what I'm saying? Roots and all that. You know what I mean? So I think it's a breath of fresh air when you have that genuine, connection towards that history, opposed to just saying about it. You know what I'm saying? But at HBCUs, they're really about it. So it's really amazing.
And it's interesting because now the climate, the culture, you just kind of talked about it, but enrollment is up all across the country at HBCUs, and some of that is happened because of the killing with George Floyd, and it kind of brought people back to what's the true meaning of our lives and where we need to go. So with that being said, again, we appreciate you, coming to HBCU, Southern University football program specifically. Academics.
Yeah.
What do you plan on majoring in at Southern University, or is there at Liberty? What did you major in?
I was studying cinema, but unfortunately, I can't take that at HBC, or not HBC, but at Southern.
Yeah.
So I'll probably take marketing, because being able to market is kind of the same thing as almost doing cinema. If you know the knowledge of marketing something or knowing how to advertise something, I think that's really important. You know what I'm saying?
It is.
I don't want to get too much deep into it, but society has definitely changed because of marketing and how things are advertised. That's just,
no, you're
from
right.
a consumer, they changed needing things to wanting things, which created way more consumers, which is, that's just amazing. You do some research on that, man, you'll be locked in for like hours. But it's really, 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 really interesting. But yeah.
Well, it'll be interesting, Charles. If I could go back in time, that would probably be something I would be interested in. I got a Bachelor of Arts in History. So, history is important, but now marketing and the field that we're in with podcasts and shows, it's important. NFL player that you try to pattern your game on, and who is your favorite NFL player?
Aaron Donald, Ray Lewis.
Well, those are 2 famous people.
skill-wise, Aaron Donald, man, like when I was in high school, I would model, like I'll literally do the things he did on the screen. So he do a move, I'll do it outside to perfect it. So, you're going to see a lot of that this coming year of, that connection I have with Aaron Donald. I really love his game. I love his hard work. I've talked to coaches that actually coached him, and, he's a hard worker, and I'm a hard worker too. So it's going to get, dangerous. You know what I mean? Ray Lewis, I love his spirit, man. You know what I'm saying? He got that boom, boom. You know what I'm saying? Get it done, no excuses. I love that type of mindset. I love that type of mentality he brings to the game. And, I want to be like Ray Lewis, and I want to be like Aaron Donald. So I say those are my 2 players I really look up to. You know what I mean?
Right. I asked earlier, impact on the defensive line and the football team. What do you consider your strengths, and what do you think that you have to work on to get better in? But your strengths and what you again bring to Southern's football program.
My strengths are I have a lot of strength. I'm super quick for my size, and I'm a hard worker. You know what I mean? I say my weaknesses are knowing I gotta take care of my body. You know what I mean? Because I can get so you know what I'm saying? I'm stronger. I don't need no. I gotta get myself, right. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, your body is what's gonna really push you forward. You know what I mean? So I say I gotta work on that.
Yeah, and that's interesting because I think Charles can weigh on this because I made a note about the humidity, and you're a native of Georgia, right? Carrollton,
Yeah.
Georgia.
Yes, sir.
Preparing yourself, just talking to people who were not from Baton Rouge but came to play at Southern University, the humidity. How do you prepare, you think, for that? Or do you believe that is something that you can do to prepare for it? Or is it until you get to Baton Rouge and get acclimated to it?
Water. Water. I mean, you got to drink a lot of water. I mean, I'm going to be chucking down a gallon of water probably every day, or probably two. Have a jug with me, probably an old milk gallon, put some water in there, and just carry that around the whole day. That's probably my plan right there.
Hey, that's a great answer. H2O. You can't do without it. That what keeps you living. You can go longer without food, but water not as long. Teammates on your visit, did you get a chance to meet any of your teammates?
I met Taj Brown. Taj Brown. He's an older guy.
Great last name.
Yeah, you saw what?
Great last name. I'm Carlos Brown. Great last name. Yeah. And a great player.
Yeah, he has a great mindset for the game. He's hyped up, and I know he knows what it takes to have a good football team, a good D line, and I'm excited to be a part of that. You know what I'm saying? I feel like we can work together, get our D line to do great things and push ourselves, accountability, and all sorts of things. So, I met with Taj Brown. He's an awesome player and an awesome guy for sure.
Man, yeah, you're right. Coach, we talked about Coach Miller, also linebacker coach, one of my personal favorites, Coach Graves. I don't know if you had a chance to meet him, and then the defensive coordinator, Coach Henry Miller.
Yeah,
the connection those guys have. They all coached with Southern University before under legendary coach, Coach Pete Richardson. Now Coach Dooley coached under that same coach, and now at Southern University, of course, as the head coach. Did you get a chance to meet any of those coaches, or was just? I met
with all of them.
Okay.
The whole trip, man. They were there the whole time.
And you didn't get. Now you mentioned beignets, Charles. Did you get a famous food item from a blue store, chicken store?
They did. The chicken store.
Yeah, I was going to say that. If they did not.
Henry Miller told me about it.
Oh, okay, because I'm going to get on somebody.
He told me about it, man. But I'm like, it's like, let's go there, coach. He was like, nah, we got to eat at this restaurant. I'm like, bruh. We talking all this stuff about his chicken, man. He talking about his professor said I got to stop class because he wanted some chicken. So I'm like, man, take me there right now. But, that was not the schedule. So I got to, be cool with the schedule.
Yes, sir. You will get some approval of the staff as far as the the chicken wings.
Oh yeah,
they're very good. In closing, what do you want to say to the Southern University audience that are watching now?
Man, you're gonna get a dog out of me, man. You're gonna get a dog. You're gonna get a hard worker, man. And listen, my goal is to win a championship, and I will do everything I need to do physically, mentally to prepare for that chance. And listen, let's get it, man. Let's go, Jags. For sure.
how eligibility left? How many?
I got 2
seasons?
years, so you're gonna
Okay.
get two. You're gonna get 2 rings from me, man. 2 rings, for sure. Let's do it.
You know, Southern's fan base. They say Southern is the standard, and they're animated to say the least. But I think you will enjoy yourselves here at Southern University. We appreciate you taking some time to talk with us here on the Carlos Brown Show. Actually, the next couple of weeks, I'm going to have some more guys who have committed to come on and talk about their decision to come to Southern University. But we appreciate your time. Look, enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll talk again real soon.
Thank you for having me on your. Thank you for having me on your show, man. I appreciate it. Great opportunity. It's awesome to go out here and share God and give Him the glory and rep the Jags, man. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, and the other guy that you're talking to, Charles Edmond, he calls the games for Alcorn. So Southern goes to Alcorn. It's called God's Country. It's a beautiful setting, though, but it'll probably remind you of Liberty.
Okay.
Yeah. But go in and get a win. All right, my man. Take care.
All right, man. Be blessed. God bless.
All right. God bless you. That was, Khristain Zachery. That was interesting.
Good personality.
Yeah. Good personality. Believes in his faith. That plays a big part of his life. He talked about a player that he tries to emulate his play on, Aaron Donald. Your team, Charles. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yeah. I mean, and that's kind of a scary thought. I mean, because we know how dominant Aaron Donald is. And if he brings that Aaron Donald aura about him, look out. Our offensive line's going to have to come with it. But look, I mean, I think number one, it shows you that coaches are looking, players are looking. There's still a lot of movement with players moving and going to different places, and you do get those gems, and he seems to be one in terms of his personality. Play on the field, we'll see. But I mean, just a great kid, great spirit, great aura. I'm sure he'll be great in the locker room.
Yeah, because he seems to be very mature. Yeah. For his age and things that he's gone through in his life already, even at Liberty, because Liberty was an FCS football program at one time. Then they moved up and they've had some success. They really have, because of the footage I saw, and maybe we can pull up some before the show's out, against Arkansas. Liberty went in and defeated Arkansas. They lost, I think, 31-30 to Wake Forest.
Yeah.
And Wake Forest had an outstanding season this past year. So come in, work hard. You still got to earn the position. And if you don't start, you still provide added depth. Yeah. And talking to some of the Southernites who can be very tough, that was one of the things that they wanted to see. Add depth on the defensive line. But, they're still looking to add pieces both offensively. And as we close and go to this timeout, still one of the biggest questions is quarterback. The quarterback play. I think that'll work itself out. I really do. And we're scheduled to talk with Coach Totten. And he believes he'll have a quarterback ready. Oh, and speaking of that, speaking of quarterbacks, next week, he's going to be a freshman, 3-star quarterback, Jalen Woods. He has confirmed he'll be on the show next Saturday. Also, I'm going to throw a name out to you, Charles, and let's see if you remember this name. Maurice Hurst. Does that name sound familiar?
No, it doesn't.
Uh-oh. How about anybody in the chat room? Maurice Hurst. Does that name ring a bell? I'll give you a clue, Charles. He played in this conference and went to the NFL.
I can't make the connection. At least with the clues you're giving me right now, we'll have to dig more into it.
Played defensive back at a school in this conference. Went on to the New England Patriots. Yep, that's Maurice Hurst. He's scheduled to join me next week. And some other guests. During the commercial break, Google Maurice Hurst.
I will.
On that note, as Charles gets ready to Google, we'll be joined by Coach Vann Pettaway next. We'll be talking some NBA playoffs. Also, if I look in the chat room, let's see. FAMU gives up a run. What is the score? They were up 1-0, so maybe it's tied. I'm sure we'll get a update from AD, and he'll join us in about 20 minutes for a quick update. You're watching the Carlos Brown Show right here on the Black College Sports Network. We shall return.
Time to call a credit repair company to fix my credit. Hold the phone, man. You can do it yourself with Credit Versio. That's way too hard. Call the credit repair company. Most credit repair companies only work on 1 or 2 accounts at a time, making it slow and expensive. You won't figure that out for months. Ignore him. Credit Versio's brilliant software scans all 3 credit bureaus, finds the accounts that are hurting your score, and guides you through the entire process. Anyone can do it. Let's fast forward and see the results. Wow, I fixed my own credit and saved hundreds. You can do this. Visit creditversio.com.
T. Madden and Associates is a sophisticated and experienced law firm located in your neighborhood. We're turning injury to cash.
T. Madden and Associates obtained almost $2 million for my injury. They turned my injury to cash.
Now, we can't guarantee how much your injury is worth, but we've recovered millions for our clients.
Call T. Madden and Associates at 833-PAID-123. That's 833-PAID-123.
Since 2002, Empowerment Resources, Inc., a nonprofit organization, has empowered more than 1,500 youth and adults in Duval and surrounding counties. Through its programs, Journey into Womanhood, Girls Mentoring, Life Skills for Teens, and Parenting Education Coaching. To get involved with programs, volunteer, or donate, visit www.empowermentresourcesinc.org. Follow us on social media, facebook.com/empowerment.resources and instagram.com/empowermentjax.
Thank you guys for what you do for HBCU athletics. This is a fantastic avenue for all of us. This is our ESPN, so we love what you guys do. Brian, AD, Roy, all you guys at BCSN. We really appreciate what it is that you guys do for us.
Welcome back to the Carlos Brown Show right here on the Black College Sports Network. Thanks, Brian. Update, FAMU has hit their 3rd solo home run, now trailing 4-3 to UConn. There you go, FAMU. Battle to the end. There you go. Because usually, Coach Pettaway and Charles, from my experience going to a regional, that second day of competition, if they come down in the losers bracket, things kind of can get away from you quickly as far as pitching. But a brilliant move by FAMU to not throw their number one starter and save him. I'm assuming the number one starter for today. But Coach Pettaway, good afternoon to you, sir.
Good afternoon. I'm happy to be here, and was able to sit in on part of the previous segment. And Mr. Hurst played at Southern University, played cornerback at Southern University, went to the New England Patriots, and that's great. And that was a great young man. You know, we need more of that. We need to highlight and showcase more of our athletes who are doing well and who have it, who seem to have everything together. Because the young man that you all had on the defensive tackle, you know, he seems like he's got his head on right. He certainly has his priorities in the right order when he has God at the head of his life. So that was interesting, and I really liked that. And I also, Carlos, I didn't get a chance to say this last week, but I also liked the touch that you all had where you had the game live for the people. I think that was a great touch.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for the baseball, you know, going in and out. I think that was a nice setup, a nice touch.
Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, that was Brian Fulford and A.D. Drew, who in about 10, 15 minutes, he'll come to us live with, live from Gainesville. He's there. Speaking of live, no, rumor has it that I was going to Denver. Well, the altitude may have just literally taken me out. I'm dealing with all kinds of things anyway, but let's go back a little bit, Coach Pettaway, because last Saturday they were getting ready to play a game 7
in Boston. Yep.
And I quote, you said it would be tough to win in Boston. And look, I would agree with you. I was nervous. I was sweating bullets and other things. And Miami went in there and not only won, but they won going away.
Yep.
And then you look at all of the national pundits and prognosticators. They all had Boston winning. And I understand that. Miami was the underdogs through the whole playoffs. Milwaukee, they beat the number 1 seed. They beat the number 2 seed. And now they're going up against the number 1 seed in the West.
Correct.
You just gotta love the fight of the Heat. And if they don't win this series, I'm still proud of them because they exceeded my expectations. But they did well. But back to the Boston game. Boston, if they're hitting their shots from the perimeter, they're tough to beat. But the saying goes, they live by the 3.
Yep.
And they crashed by the 3. I'm going to stop saying die by the 3. Your thoughts of Boston, and then the prognosticators bringing up the question that, will that coach survive? Oh, come on. But anyway.
Yeah. Well, I think they put that to bed.
Yes.
They've already come on and said that he'll be back. Well, I think Miami
should be.
I think they had the right mindset going into Boston because you got to remember now when they lost at home, Jimmy Butler and Spurs, they went on saying, hey, we going down there with the mindset to win the game. We're not just going there to play a game. We're going to win the game. And I think they came out and they threw the first punch. They hit them in the mouth and they kept hitting them until from the open tip to the final buzzer. They took Boston's heart. Now, a lot of people are going to put it on that Jason twisted his ankle. That injuries are a part of it.
Part of the game.
Right. That's a part of it. But it's more than Jason Tatum on Boston. Mm-hmm. And Miami just took them out of what they wanted to do. But while I was sitting there watching that game, the thing that came to my mind was that they don't have very much time to prepare for Denver. Mm-hmm. In other words, by them playing in that 7th game, which was on Monday, it was going to be hard for them to regroup and be ready to go for this past Thursday. Mm-hmm. One of the things that they did to try to help the situation, it's my understanding they left after the game and went on to Denver.
They had plans already made.
Right. Well,
That's a lot of confidence, huh?
Now that's not being arrogant. That's just being mindful and thinking ahead. If we win this, we need to move on because our bodies have to become acclimated to that altitude out there. And I think that was good. But I also say that because they had that long grind, that tough game 7, they were not going to be ready physically for that first game. Yeah. And I think the game tomorrow, I think it'll be a better test of where Miami is going to be.
That's what y'all said.
Because I don't see, when you look at what happened in that game, Caleb Martin was 1 for 7. Butler was 6 out of 14. Strauss was 0 for 10.
Horrible.
Robinson 1 for 6. So without Hightower, Laurie, Vincent, and of course Bam, it would have been worse in that first game. They just couldn't match up. Denver used their size. I mean, when you got Jokic, who can not only can he play the post, he's very good at creating offense. He had another triple-double. He shot 8 out of 12 from the floor. Then you had Murray, who went off for 26 points and also had 10 assists. But here you got Porter with a double-double, 14 points, 13 rebounds. Then you get 16 points from Gordon, and then Brown had 10 points. And then these guys are shooting well from the field. And then you get a team like Miami who is relied on attacking the basket. Well, they didn't do that in that game.
They did not.
They only shot 2 free throws. 2 free throws for the entire game. So I don't see them having 2 free throws in this next game. I think some adjustments will be made. I think one of the things they're going to do, they probably will attack the basketball. I think they'll be playing more downhill. And I also think that defensively, they've got to cut off some of these other guys. You're not going to stop Jokic.
Right.
Nobody's going to have a matchup for him. But what you got to cut down on is him making plays for these other guys.
The others.
Right.
And Coach, amen. Garden and Porter, to me, the others, that's what I call them. That to me, those two right there. And a lot of times they had Vincent. They ended up having some bad switches with Vincent on them, and then Martin. I mean, Garden and Porter, 6'9" and 6'10" respectively.
Right.
And they're very athletic, and they play on the perimeter. But you saw them go down in the post. Go ahead, Coach Pettaway.
No. You're absolutely correct. They are the key. So what you have to do, you have to minimize their production in order to stay in the basketball game. And then as a team, Miami has to shoot the ball better. Their stars will have to step up. Now, Bam, he gave you 26 points and 13 rebounds. But you got to have Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler has to show up and play well. If he plays well, I guarantee you Strauss and Robinson will play a better game because they follow his lead. I just don't see Miami shooting this poorly in the next basketball game, and I don't see them not getting to the free throw line. So I think it'll be a different outlook in the game on Sunday night.
To your point, Charles, you said the series starts, in your opinion, tomorrow night.
Yes. Yeah. I look, after coming off that grueling 7-game series, I expected the Heat to get blown out in game 1. And they were down by as many as 24 in the third. It really wasn't a game. I mean, the game was not as close as the score indicated. And you can say what you want about the travel. And, they played on Sunday. They started the series on Thursday. To me, the Heat were whipped. And Coach, I said it in the last hour. I thought the Celtics lost the series in game 6. I thought the Heat won the series in game 6. I think that 7th game in Boston, the Heat turned it up, and the Celtics, to me, you can say what you want, but Ime Udoka brought a sense of toughness to that organization that when he was let go, I think a lot of that left. You had Stoudemire, who left going to Georgia Tech, who was probably the glue to keep that team together in terms of toughness. Boston, to me, just wasn't tough. They were just, you got to beat the Heat, you got to be tough. And to me, Boston was not tough in Game 7. So I think, there's going to be 3 assistant coaches, according to reports, that are going to leave Boston to go to Houston, where Ime Udoka is now the head coach. So that whole coaching staff is going to be remade. They got to get tougher, talking about Boston. They got to decide what they're going to do with Tatum and Brown. I think they'll both be re-signed. It's going to cost them a ton of money, all that. But the Heat were the tougher team. But I thought the Heat just didn't have enough in the tank going to Denver. I figured it would be a blowout. It was. And so now the series is on, I think. If the Heat win tomorrow night, it's really going to be an intriguing series. Because I think if Denver gets punched in the mouth, I can't sit here and say that Denver's going to go to Miami and get one. I think it could be a home series. The home team can win every game in the series, which means the Nuggets might win it in 7. But if Miami gets one tomorrow night, I think Denver's back is against the wall really for maybe the second time in this whole postseason. So I think tomorrow's game is going to be really intriguing because Eric Spoelstra can adjust. He's one of the best at it. And I think it'll be a very entertaining game tomorrow night.
Right. And then the big thing is on the defensive side, I agree with you. I think Miami is probably the toughest team when it comes to defense. And they really got up into Boston. I don't think they had their legs in this first game, but to be honest, their defense kept them in the game. They kept the game as close to it. This should have been a major blowout for Denver, but because Miami still continued to play a hard-nosed defense, even though they weren't hitting shots, they were still able to stay, within range of the Nuggets. So defense will be a big part of this series, and I think when it comes to that aspect of the game, I would give Miami the upper hand when it comes to the toughness and playing that great defense. I would take their defense over the Nuggets. The Nuggets, their main goal is to try to outscore you. And that has always been their mentality. So they don't stress defense as much. Now, we're seeing some great defensive one-on-one plays now because, they're blocking Jimmy Butler's shot. They're blocking shots with people driving to the basket because Denver's more athletic. They're longer and they're athletic. So not only do you have the length, they're athletic. And so they're able to make some defensive plays, especially one-on-one. When their one-on-one defense in the post is amazing. And it's because of their size. They got the size advantage over Miami. And Miami's got to come up with a plan to where they get some of them guys away from the basket, where they can beat them off the drop, beat them off the bounce, and then they're able to make plays for themselves or for their teammates.
Well, Coach, let me ask you this question. It's just amazing when I watch the Joker play. He doesn't get sped up.
Nope.
He doesn't. He goes at whatever pace the game is at, and he's still going to give you 26 and 12. It's amazing to me how he can still get his despite the pace of the game. I mean, he doesn't necessarily have to have that big of an impact, but he can't, but he does, whether it's intentionally or unintentionally.
He's a facilitator.
Right.
Yeah. He's a facilitator.
He intentionally gets his teammates involved in the game because his mindset is, I can get mine at any time. But he realizes that he needs these other guys going. And if you watch him, he's going to make sure that he's attempting to get his teammates involved in the game. And Charles, before I forget, I did have an opportunity to listen to you, the Bethune-Cookman game. I did. I was able to listen to you broadcast also. So you did an outstanding job, man, as always.
And that's incredible because I like the chemistry between Charles and Coach Cato.
And that was a hoop, man. And that was a hoop. Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna say this. It's not me. I mean, it's I give Coach Cato a lot of credit. I kind of bounce things off of him. All I do is just put some stuff on the plate for him to chew on. That's all I do.
Well,
and so Coach is wonderful. He's forgotten more baseball than we all know. So I just piggyback off of him. And then I want to give Charles Bishop credit too. We did something different. We had interviews from the dugout. And so Charles Bishop was terrific in that. I learned a phrase from him, Carlos, the urban jet stream.
We used it last week. Yeah.
I learned that from going through that stadium, coming off them buildings. Yeah.
I mean, you didn't see the trees move, but you saw the flag move. Like, what is going on? But I appreciate it, but it's not me. It's James Crenshaw, the producer. He's got a lot of young camera people that are doing good stuff behind the scenes. Charles Bishop, Roger Cato. I just go along to get along. But I appreciate it. And it was a great tournament, great turnout, and hope to continue.
And talking about appreciating people, Charles Bishop, Charles Edmond, and Coach Roger Cato, we're going to bring in a report from the Gainesville Regional right now. As soon as we bring him up, and that's AD Drew, and to tell us, give us a live update of what's going on as far as baseball regional in Gainesville. There's Pat Ryder texting me. I'll talk to you after the show, Pat. Pat is fired up. Let's see. What does it say? Don't give up on the Heat. Oh, no. Even if they go down 2-0, it's still.
Yep.
You still got to come back to Miami. And you're talking about toughness. Now Charles talked about Boston. Yeah, Miami was tougher mentally and tougher overall than Boston. But let's give credit to Boston. Down 3-0, and they win 3 in a row.
Yeah.
So you can attribute that to coaching and the players themselves. They're tough. Maybe not as tough as Miami, but my only suggestion would be to them, their style of play, they rely on outside shots, but they don't have any inside post play to me. And is that something, Coach Pettaway, that maybe they can look at changing, or if they stick to their philosophy where they're playing outside spacing, how can they improve?
Well, I think they're waiting on Williams to develop. I think if he can continue to develop, I think he's their future. And they've got to get some more pieces to go with him. But offensively, all they're doing is throwing lobs to him. I think he has to develop his post game where they do feel comfortable enough to go down to him in the block. But I think because of Al Horford, he's always played on the perimeter. So you're not going to get a post-up game from him. So that's why I think doing, through the trade or draft picks, they've got to get some help in the paint so that they can have a better balance. Because you cannot, when your legs are gone, you're not going to hit those three-point shots. When they take away your legs get tired, that shot is going to be off. So they got to develop a mid-range game and a post game. And I think another year, another offseason for Williams, I think he'll be a better offensive player for him. And then I think they got to do it through the draft.
Well, it's gonna be interesting. AD, good afternoon.
What's going on, fellas?
Oh well, we're going well. We're doing well. We're now listening to you with a report. What's the latest?
Just had a second pitching change today. Fairview has gone to Everyday Morier as
I've heard about him.
Yeah. He just came in the last inning. He got one out in the top of the 5th inning to get Fairview out of a big jam. And now UConn has just put in number 50. His last name is Kirby into the game. Fairview has a runner on first base with nobody out here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Fairview trails 5-3. UConn 5 runs, 11 hits, no errors. FAMU 3 runs, 4 hits, 1 error. All 3 of those runs by Florida A&M are on big flies as they hit 3 solo home runs in this game.
Well, you appreciate the home runs, timely hitting. Did FAMU pitch their number 1 starter in this game? Okay.
Yes, they did.
Okay, because we were kind of talking about that. Most teams in game 1, they'll usually play pitch their number 1 starter. But
correct.
FAMU
No,
did.
well, Not in the tournament necessarily. You usually see in the 2-3 games, you usually see the ones going. But in the 1-4 matchup, a lot of times, and FAMU now had first and second with nobody out. They just scored that a hit right there. If you're watching on the NCAA network, yeah, that was just a dribbler right there in the no man's land between the pitcher and second base, and nobody could get it. Ty Hampton now went back. But yesterday, FAMU's number 2 went against Florida's number 3.
Okay.
Yesterday.
I got it mixed up. Yeah.
Yes.
But
That's what
most
happened.
yeah, but most teams, they don't pitch their number 1 starter. Yeah. In the first game. Yeah.
Yeah, the 2-3s usually pitch their number 1s because they want to get that advantage and get that win. The 1-4 is where, right. The 1-4 is where you usually see teams throwing off.
Pitch down is what they usually say, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Quickly, another update of the game.
Bunt attempt. Ty Hampton just tried to lay down a sacrifice bunt. Runners were on first and second with nobody out, and he pops up to the pitcher.
So 1 out now.
Not 1 out. FAMU committed their first error of the tournament earlier that led to a UConn run.
Well, AD, we appreciate the update. We're still gonna be pulling for FAMU hard here in Baton Rouge and in Huntsville. And
Bun is down. Hold up, Bun is down. He might beat that out. He did. FAMU now has bases loaded, 1 out. Jared Weber just beat out what should have been. I don't know if he was actually bunting or bunting for a hit. But irregardless, he just reached base. So now you have bases loaded with 1 out, and Sebastian Greco now up to bat for the Rattlers.
Well, a single, right, Charles, probably brings in 2 runs.
A single ties it, yes. Anything to the gap, FAMU may possibly retake the lead. And if you let me, I'll try to hang on through this at bat for you, Carlos, if you guys have time. First pitch was fouled off behind the plate for strike 1.
I'm really surprised, AD and Carlos and Coach, that Coach brought in Moray again in this situation. He's pitched in every game in the postseason. With it being close, I thought he might save him for maybe later in the game. He may be rolling the dice and saying, you know what? He's a guy that can at least keep us close. And so even though it's in the middle of the game, I'm surprised that he brought in Moray when he did this early, considering he pitched an inning and a third yesterday.
Yeah, but Charles, if you don't bring in Moray at that point, he may never pitch if that gets away from FAMU at that point. Right. So that was, even though it was the 4th inning or the 5th inning, that was essentially a save opportunity for the Rattlers. You have to look.
Win or go home.
It's win or go home. There's no doubt about it. FAMU has to win this game to extend their season. They lose this game, they have a 500 season. They're, congratulations for winning the SWAC title, but it's not what they want. And let's be real. Everybody in Rattlerland knows that FAMU is probably not going to make it to Omaha, but every game that they win gives not only the Rattlers but HBCU Nation hope and helps with recruiting.
Right. And I thought they did well. Yeah, when they played Florida.
Ball that's going to okay. Ground ball to second base. They tried to turn the 4-6-3 out at second. First, FAMU plates a run. They have cut the lead to 5-4.
All righty, 5-4. UConn over FAMU. AD, we appreciate the update. We'll look forward to another update, even if I noticed you've been putting it in the chat room as well.
Yeah, hold on that, fellas. UConn is going to challenge that play at first base, it looks like. So that run made this. I'm trying to see the umpires are getting together, trying to see if somebody is going to the. Yes, they just gave the official signal that we do have a challenge from the UConn bench. So they are going to the tunnel to rewatch the play.
On that note, we'll let you go, but I'm sure you'll update us. I'll close out with Coach Pettaway and then get ready for our next guest who's waiting. But appreciate the update, AD. And that was AD, Coach Pettaway, and we'll wrap it up quickly. I'm looking in the chat room. EA say, guys, it's extremely difficult to win 4 straight games after being down 3-0. That's why it's never been done. No,
yeah, but you know what? But you know what happened this time? No, this is the first time that team that was down 0-3 had that 7th game on their home floor now. It's always been on the road. Yep. So if it was going to happen, it should have happened then.
Yeah, that's a good point. Also, he says, Coach, no answer for Jamal Murray. Lakers had no answer. Suns, no answer. He's going to get his. The Joker's going to get his. I'm still more concerned. What kind of defensive adjustments will be made with the others?
Correct.
Now, from a defensive standpoint. Coach Pettaway, who you like tomorrow night? Denver or Miami?
Well, I'm going to be honest. In my heart, I want Miami to bounce back.
Mm-hmm.
I got to see the adjustments. If they don't make the right adjustments, Denver continue to use their size, and they'll win the game. If adjustments are made and Butler's ready to play, Miami has a great chance.
I'll take Miami tomorrow night. My heart and my head they bounce back.
I got you.
I think it's going 6 or 7 either way. But a lot of people saying sweep. I think 90% of the people saying it's going to be 4-1.
No, I don't think it'll be a sweep. I don't think it's going to be a sweep.
And it better not be 4-1, or I'm taking a trip down to Miami. On that note, Coach Pettaway, we appreciate you. We'll talk again next week.
All right. Thank you, man. You all stay safe, man.
Be good,
You
Coach.
too.
All right, Charles. Y'all, bye-bye.
All right. We're going to take a quick time out. And when we come back, we're going to visit with the athletic coordinator, head football coach, Coach John Fish. He coached a young man that's going to Southern University, Bryson Baggett. He'll tell us all about him when we return. You're watching the Carlos Brown Show right here on the Black College Sports Network.
The Cuvée Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cuvée.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge, featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. That's www.slowburnwaco.com.
Well, you kind of got to like the college athletics and the band. I added a little new piece there, the Bethune-Cookman University Wildcats band, and I'm going to add a little bit more of each band.
Where
the
the sounds of dynamite, Carlos?
We'll have to work on that one. Now, thank you, Charles. I'm going to be joined now by the athletic coordinator and head football coach at Woodrow Wilson High School. He is Coach John Fish. Coach, good afternoon to you, sir. Welcome to the call.
How you guys doing?
Well, we're doing fun. We're having a little fun, talking a little NCAA baseball. By the way, FAMU has tied the game up against the University of Connecticut, 5-5. We've talked to another commitment for Southern University football in Khristain Zachery, and now we're going to be talking with Coach Fish and Bryson Baggett, who committed to Southern University. Coach, talk a little bit about Bryson as a person and a player.
When we got there, this is end of year one for me at Woodrow Wilson. And when we got there, obviously you're evaluating the kids, the roster, and what you have. And Bryson, stood out immediately, not just because of his play on the field, but because of the type of kid he is. A kid that was an immediate leader in the locker room. Was a kid that is a high academic kid in the classroom. Does things the right way on and off the field. And so immediately for us as a staff, that's the kind of kid you want to build it around. And throw in there, he can play a little bit too, so that helps. So, Bryson's an unbelievable kid.
Yeah, just looking at the footage of Bryson, and we do have the footage we're going to put up for him, Coach. His impact on your football team, as we can see, what did he bring as far as on specifically his play on the field?
Yeah, no, he's a kid that honestly he can play so many different positions for us. Whether it's putting him at safety, pulling him down, playing inside linebacker, even being able to athletic enough to play outside linebacker. His versatility allowed us as a defense to do a lot of different things, and so just that in itself, because at the high school level, generally you don't have kids like that can do so many different things.
Multiple things.
One of the biggest things about him was that football IQ as well. I think that especially at the high school level, man, that's what sets those kids apart. Every team's going to have some good players, some kids that can go a little bit, but when you got a kid that's got the instincts and the football IQ that Bryson does, I mean, that right there is something that is a coach's dream. And then, the last part of what probably makes Bryson the best player on the field is his toughness. The kid will run through you. I don't forget, I think it was week 6 or week 7, we're playing in a big time district game, and Bryson's helmet gets ripped off, and he gashes his chin open. I mean, it needs stitches. I mean, he's all over the place, man. And comes off the field, put a strip on it and let's get back to work. I mean, there was not even a hesitation, and so that type of stuff with those types of kids, man, those are almost the things that you can't coach. It's they kind of come in and they're built that way. And so Bryson on the field was that for us, and really was what we want to kind of build the identity of our defense around. And so Bryson kind of provided all that on the field.
So, Coach, his primary position was linebacker, or as you stated, just versatile. Okay.
Yeah, he was a starting inside linebacker for us.
Okay. On the next level at Southern University, projection would be linebacker. That's where you think you see him at, or what did he talk about as far as on the next level?
Yeah, Bryson, man, I'll tell you, Bryson, the greatest thing about Bryson is he's going to be a kid that shows up and says, where do you need me? Coach, you're going to trust his coaches to put him in a position to be able to help the team. For us, obviously, at the high school level, you don't get to recruit your kids, man. So, you got to put them where they best fit for the team. In all honesty, Bryson is probably more of a strong safety, a roll down kid that can be added into the run fit. But he's so athletic. He can go in the back end. And so, to me, I would project him at the next level. If I'm guessing, they'll put him somewhere in some type of strong safety fit where they can roll coverages and add Bryson to the run fit as much as possible would be my kind of suggestion. If they were to ask me, I think at the next level, he's more of a safety. But again, he's also a kid. You know how it is when these kids show up as freshman year. He may put 20 pounds of muscle on and be an incredible outside linebacker, maybe even bump him to a will where he can, use that athleticism, not just be, the Mike run filler, the plugger guy. They'll be able to, put him in a position to be able to help them both.
Coach Fish, listening to you, that's what I was thinking and was going to be my next question, the possibility of him adding 15 or 20 pounds without losing that athleticism. But now after hearing you talk about it, I could see him as a rover back, really, because his athleticism and I appreciate you talking about his high IQ. Academically, he's an outstanding student as well, correct?
Yeah. Yes, sir. Wow. Yes. And on top of that, one of the things that I love most about Bryson is Bryson, when you meet him, his personality, he loves everybody and everybody loves Bryson. And it's not one of those things they love him because he's the life of the party or anything like that. They love him because Bryson cares about people. He's a relationship guy. The way he's represented our school, whether it's been at, going out and being involved in different student activities, leadership activities outside of the school. He's very involved in Kappa. He's very, he's a kid that he's going to be a representation of the university in a way that goes beyond anything he's going to do on the field. And he understands the value of that. And so when you get a kid that's, 16, 17 years old that already understands the value of the way you carry yourself and the way you do things, boy, those are the type of kids you want representing your university or your program.
We're visiting with Coach John Fish, head football coach. And when I was looking at your bio, athletic coordinator, is that similar to athletic director? Is it the same thing? Okay.
Yeah, it is. We, the way they build it, obviously we're a multi-high school district. And so we have an athletic department that has, executive ADs, but at the campus level, I'm the campus athletic director. And so every sport on campus runs through me, and I try to use whatever time's left over to try to coach a little football.
Wow. I almost want to ask you, is Bryson a multi-athlete, a multi-player? Like, does he play more than just football? Is there any other sports activity?
Oh yeah. He ran track. He can go. But he also went out for wrestling this year. He wrestled this past year. And so, and to me, we push our kids to the wrestling ring. Our football kids, we try to get all of them involved in wrestling because there ain't no tougher sport out there, guys. You out there, it's mano y mano, all eyes on you, go compete. And so Bryson jumped in that head first, and he loved it. I mean, every time I talked to him, he's smiling from ear to ear, talking about how much he loved wrestling and wish he'd have done it sooner.
Wow. Yeah, I guess it does help too with because we often talk about footballs and most of all sports year round conditioning and where even when it's downtime, it's not really downtime. Coach, speak about Woodrow Wilson's football program. Your season, this past season, your outlook for this upcoming season.
Yeah, we had a great year. You take over year one, and we we lost the previous class before me getting there. It was a big senior class with some big time dudes in it, and we knew going this past year in 2022 that it was going to be, there's some young kids going to have to step up and do some different things. But we ended up having a great year. The way the kids bought into the culture of what we were trying to do there. I mean, it just it ended a little too soon than I wanted. We ended up going 5-6. We lost in the first round of the playoffs, but we structure our schedule too to play a super tough non-district. We're a 5A school in Dallas, and so we're playing a bunch of 6A schools around us, and just trying to prepare our kids to understand the standard is always going to be raised, and our expectations are to make deep playoff runs and eventually play for a state title. And so we had a great year. We broke a lot of school records and did a lot of great things, but I think as we look into year two now, going into next year, we got some dudes that are gonna be all over the field, especially defensively. We got a linebacking core that, try to find me a better linebacking crew than the one we got at Woodrow Wilson. We got a bunch of Bash brothers down there ready to come down and get you, man. So it's that part's exciting to watch the way they play and run through the ball and play with a little bit of edge. And then we got a really, really dang good quarterback that can sling it in Cam McGuire. We got some young skill kids that are gonna have to step up and grow up a little bit over the summer, but I think if they do, we got a chance to be pretty dang good in 2023.
Coach, it's interesting. Me and Charles have talked on the show and plenty of the guests. When you look at with the transfer portal and student athletes, and I talk to parents all the time, they're concerned that their kids are good students and athletes, but the opportunities are really cut now because of the transfer portal. What do you think about that? With the opportunity for your student athletes to get opportunities, and even with Bryson, what other kind of interest he got from other schools in your area?
Yeah, I try not to. I don't know how many people you got tuned in today, but I hope I try not to tick anybody off today about talking about the transfer portal because, man,
I've ticked off a few people. I know.
Okay, well, I'll jump in the boat with you, man, because here's the deal. Obviously, I'm a high school football coach. It's I'm coming from that perspective. If I'm a college coach, I may feel differently, but the reality is this: that the transfer portal, the extra year from COVID, the things that took place, from last year's seniors, this year's seniors, and honestly, probably for the next 2 to 3 years, you're probably going to see this effect on high school athletes. And as far as, the recruitment process, and what schools are actually committed to finding kids that they want to develop instead of trying to, grab out of the transfer portal and all that kind of stuff. And at the end of the day, I get it because, those guys, at the college level, they're coaching for their lives, man. You better win or you ain't going to be there very long. And so, some of it you understand, but whenever you're dealing in the business of kids like we are, it's hard because, Bryson's a perfect example of this. When I came in last year, Wyoming was real big on him. They were all about it. He had interest from some Division IIs that were, he was top of their board. But he's a Division I kid, and but what we noticed kind of as the recruiting process took place with Bryson is that it changes. The climate changes because the kid that even for colleges, they don't know the kids every year. They're going to leave. They're going to stay, and so they may be real hot on a kid one year and then realize that, hey, this isn't our need anymore. And it changes on them. And unfortunately, that's kind of just circumstantial towards kids. And it's hard to deal with that. But in the same time, I think, we've got student athletes in high school that do understand it. And the biggest thing we talk to our kids about is don't use that as an excuse. Don't use that as man, it's not fair. It's, just like I tell my own kids at home, man, that not fair thing, we don't allow that around here. We're never going to be victims to situations. And so we're going to find a way. And I think this is a perfect example where towards the end of the year, Bryson was concerned, because, you're a kid that you're a high recruit, you can do it. But man, when it's just that's not there, they're not beating down your door like they used to. What do you do? And so, obviously through this process, talking with Bryson and working to get him in front of the right people, he ended up getting connected in with Coach Dooley and it all worked out. And that's what I always tell him, man, is just hug his neck. And I said, man, I love you. Look what happens when you just stay the course. Keep doing what you're doing. Trust the process. Is it exactly what you expected it was going to be? No, you didn't expect to be a PWO going to Southern, but look at you, brother. You're about to be a Division I football player at an incredible university, just like you told me a year ago you wanted to do. We found a way. And so I think that's where, for high schools, if you don't have that mentality, then because the transfer portal ain't going away. This isn't going to just all of a sudden overnight change and go back to the way it used to be. I mean, it's just not. So, and I think too, as coaches, especially in the state of Texas, man, where, it's in my opinion, the best football in the country as far as high school athletics is concerned. We do have the luxury of having a lot of network of college coaches in the state and things of that nature. And, continue to build those relationships helps, I think, a lot with kids. And then just continuing, again, to trust the process. The Lord's going to take care of you, man. You just got to stay the course, and he's going to put you right where you're supposed to be. And so here comes Bryson to Southern, and it's going to be exciting to watch him.
Yeah, and hopefully you'll be able, if time permits, to get down to Baton Rouge and enjoy some crawfish and all the good food and the culture.
Now we're talking. We're talking.
Because the other guy, Charles, and Charles, if you got a quick question, he's a guy that can put down some crawfish. I don't need it, Coach.
Well, Coach, I'm always impressed with high school football in Texas because of the facilities. I mean, you guys are building in Texas, they're building stadiums as big as some of the stadiums that we played, 20,000 seat, 25,000 seat stadiums. Yeah. I'm impressed with that and the amount of resources that are being put into it. But you brought up a good point about trying to stay active in the sport. I do games for Vicksburg High School in Mississippi. And one of the requirements, if you're going to play football for Vicksburg High School, you have to be on the powerlifting team and you have to run track. Talk about the importance of that, because it's not just about football, it's about staying active all year long and trying to stay in best shape and to stay as sharp as you can.
Agree 100%. And that's, we tell my day one speech to the football team is congratulations, you guys are all two-sport athletes. I have some kids like, what the heck is he talking about? He said, everybody in here will run track. Every one of you. I don't care if you can, it takes you 10 minutes to run a mile. I don't care what it is. We're going to find something for you to do to compete year round. And I think that's, what you're, it's not even, we do obviously, our off-season programs, our boot camps and things with football, but the thing you can never, incorporate to your kids is competition. You can't fake it, right? You can't go in the weight room. Yeah, I'm going to try to lift more than you and all that. But you've got to be involved in something, whether it's powerlifting, wrestling, track, where you're going to line up against somebody in the spring and you're going to compete, because you can't reinvent that in the off season. You can do all the competitions you want, in your practice time and all that kind of stuff. But man, when I got to line up against another dude and try to beat him down this track, it puts spotlight on you. And we want our kids to feel that year round. And so, I think that also speaks to the culture of your athletic program too. When you got kids that, you want your football program to be kind of the nucleus of the culture of your athletic program. Well, the only way to do that is make sure that those kids are getting that culture, are carrying it to your other sports. And so we push that hard here. And I encourage any coach that I talk to make sure that is a priority for your kids. They can't be specialized kids, man. They got to get involved in multiple things. If you want to grow the culture and grow it in the way that it's got to be a championship level, man, you got to have them involved in multiple things.
Well, Coach, on that note, we appreciate the time giving us some perspective on Bryson Baggett, your upcoming 2023 football season. We wish you the best in that endeavor, and also just kind of giving us your thoughts on the transfer portal. I agree 250% with what you said on that. And Bryson, I'll say this, PWO, but somehow I believe he will be scholarshiped.
I think so
before
too.
It's all said and done. Trust me. But have a great rest of your weekend, and we appreciate the time and look forward to talking with you again real soon.
All right, Carlos, thank you for the opportunity to come on here and talk about Bryson and our kids and Woodrow Wilson, man. This is it's a privilege to get to do this job, and it's a privilege to get to impact these kids and see them go off to do great things. And appreciate your time today.
I appreciate you. And look, I'm going to be keeping up with your football season. Best of luck in 2023.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Y'all ever in Dallas, y'all holler at me.
Oh, yes, sir. Will do. Hadn't been to Dallas in a long time, but maybe.
Well, come on, baby.
All right. Thank you. That was Coach John Fish, head football coach at Woodrow Wilson High School, and also athletic coordinator. In our closing, Charles, I definitely want to say this. A speedy recovery to my best friend, Michael Elam. He's under the weather, but he's progressing and doing well. Also to Willa Brown. He lost his older brother last week. So our thoughts and prayers go out to Willa Brown. FAMU, I think the latest update, it was tied 5-5. Brian, let me know if the score has changed. Closing comments, Charles.
Well, as we wind up another sports season, of course, FAMU's got it going, and hopefully they can live on to play Florida later on. It's just been a great sports year all the way around. You talked about the Commissioner's Cup. Congratulations to all the teams. Another great year in the Southwestern Athletic Conference and HBCU sports in general, and looking forward to an exciting 2023-2024 season. Congratulations to all the teams, all the individuals, and hope to keep it up in 23-24.
FAMU and UConn tied in the bottom of the 7th, 5-5. Well, that's going to do it for another edition of the Carlos Brown Show right here on the Black College Sports Network. I want to thank all of the guests. Well, that's a little early there, Charles, but Charles Edmond, Khristain Zachery, Coach Vann Pettaway, and Coach John Fish. Also, want to thank all of you who are watching. Remember, like and subscribe. Hit that notification button. My JBN 1, Jericho Broadcasting Network. And that's going to do it. Appreciate you. Even if you watch in it live or if you watch the replay, we appreciate it. Yes, support the Black College Sports Network in our 25th year. Please visit. You can see it, myjbn.com/grow, and choose how you would like to support our work. Definitely do that. Until next time, Saturday morning at 11 a.m. for another edition of the Carlos Brown Show right here on the Black College Sports Network. Peace and God bless.